Good morning. When we were growing up, once a year, we were able to watch TV while we ate dinner. It was a big deal. It was exciting, and it was always The Wizard of Oz. We sat with our TV trays on the couch and were able to see the mystery of Dorothy's life unfold and how she tried with all her heart to get back to Kansas. And the only way she could do that was with the help of the Wizard of Oz. Well, many of us may feel the same about God. We may feel like God is this very mysterious figure in our lives, and God has the answers. And so we're trying to make contact with God, but God is hidden behind a curtain. There is a distance, a remoteness. And truly, that's the last thing God wants. God wants us close. God wants us to know who God is. And so, how does God solve this problem? God sends Jesus. Jesus says, I'll go to the earth. I'll tell humanity what we're like. I'll spend my life loving them the way we, the Trinity, love humanity. We believe as Christians that Jesus is the incarnation of God. In the flesh, God in the flesh. That means, really and truly, that's the greatest gift we could ever have received, because we don't have to guess anymore. What is God like? What happens if I do something so bad outside the lines of what I know is true and good? How would God respond to me? And we have the example of the woman who was thrown into the dirt in front of him by the Pharisees. How did he respond to a person who behaved outside the law? We talk about someone, we think about ourselves. What happens if we have tried everything possible? We've tried to reach for God. We've tried to find help in our life, and we're just not making it. And we have the story of the woman who was hemorrhaging, or the man who laid by the pool of Siloam, and Jesus came and healed them. We have this sense sometimes that perhaps we're not good enough, or that we just don't belong to the inner circle of God. We don't live our lives as purely and as goodly, kindly, as good as we wish we could. And then we think of the Syrophoenician woman who was not of the faith of Jesus and the apostles, who was another faith, another culture. And how did Jesus respond to her? And what was the story of her life? Or maybe we think that we've betrayed God in a way that is so terrible and unforgivable. How would God behave? How does God think and act toward me? And we have the story of Peter, who denied Jesus 3 times. And how did Jesus respond to that denial? Or maybe we feel that God is not listening, that God couldn't possibly have a heart for us. And then we look at the love of Jesus on the cross and Jesus' own cry out to God, my God, why have you abandoned me? Every instinct that we have as human beings, every action that we take, and we wonder how it affects God and how God will respond, we have the image of Jesus there to help us see in the flesh how God responds to weak and lesser humanity. Jesus is meant to be a bridge, meant to be a support, meant to be something that gives us strength when we long for God and God feels like the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain. God is close, and Jesus teaches us that. So trusting what we know in our hearts about God and looking at the gospel, to look at these examples of individuals who lived before we did, but lived while Christ was alive. How did God respond to them? How did Jesus respond to them? And that will be God's response to us.